Big Drive Energy Monday morning episode, recapping all of the weekend's happenings between Scottie Scheffler, Bobby Mack. We've got some other amateur golfers to talk about. Pretty insane weekend in golf. We have all led up to the Tour Championship, which hits us this coming weekend down at East Lake in Atlanta. The top 30 PGA Tour players will be there. It's going to be a blast. We also talk some of the bubble guys that didn't make the cut, didn't make the top 30, and some shocking, surprising guys that did make the top 30. We're all going to do that in 30 seconds. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy Monday morning. Monday. After a electric finish at Caves Valley at the BMW Championship.
At the Caves.
I saw some people saying keep it at the Caves every year. And then I also saw some Colorado people that were like, it was way better when it was at Castle Pines. So we'll get into all of that. Of course, Scottie Scheffler. I am at Big Drive Spence. We got Big Drive Mitch here along with me. Part of the Golfer Gang Network. Check out the Golfer Gang Network if you like golf podcasts like ours. There's a bunch of different ones on there. I'm sure we'll be getting together and doing some sort of a roundtable again before the Ryder Cup. First, let's start with, how was your weekend? I know you went up to the shore. It's a Monday morning, so we got to recap the weekend, talk a little bit about what we did, because we're getting into the end of the PGA Tour season. It's crazy that fall's kind of already here. I went to a football game this weekend in person. Like,
how good was that?
Baby. We're so back.
So back. Holy shit. It honestly, so today it just got a little cooler out here into like the 70s, and I got that smell of football weather in the air. It's nice and chilly. I got the windows open. I could not be more ready for football season, for some cooler weather. But the shore was great. I hurt myself. That'll be my Mulligan Monday. I am injured. But that just feels like a weekly occurrence between one of us at this point.
Are you hurt or are you injured, buddy?
I think I'm hopefully hurt because I got some golf coming up. I'm playing golf right now. Well, not literally right now.
I'm right in the middle of the golf course right now. Here I am.
I'm going to play golf after this, and then we're playing Thursday in Chicago, and then I'm also playing Friday in Chicago. So I need to have full bars for that shit, and I am definitely not there right now. So, but the weather was awesome. Oh,
you want to hear something funny? Is so that Thursday when we play golf in Chicago, that will be the first time I've touched a golf club since the member guest.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it'll be almost literally a full month.
You took riding off into the sunset literally, and you're just not playing golf again.
My life has been a complete joke the last month and just insanely busy. So I don't even know where my golf clubs are, for God's sakes.
No, and by the way,
in my garage.
By the way, I need you to bring me my golf shoes back to Chicago.
Your shoes are in my travel bag already, buddy.
I've been missing my favorite pair of golf shoes, and I just been sliding around in all these spikeless fucking shoes out on the golf course. So, but the shore was good. We had a lot of fun. Our mom was out here this weekend, and we had a blast with her. Ate a lot of seafood. Got sunburnt, unfortunately, which I didn't think I did, but my chest is pretty roasted. My arms are pretty roasted. So I am just like a fucking mess overall. But we had a lot of fun. Got to watch a little bit of the Broncos. Not really much else from the weekend. It was Missy's grandpa's 90th birthday. So we did like a 90th birthday celebration, went to her mom's house. So that was awesome.
Hell yeah, Pop.
Yeah, Pop's 90. Freaking 25, 30 people were there. So it was a lot of fun. Our mom got to meet her family, which was great. She loved everyone. They loved her. And yeah, other than that, I definitely got the Sunday scaries last night. And then I'm like, it's fucking about to be football season. I'm playing golf this week. We're going to Chicago. Like, what is there to be scared about? But sometimes, no matter how good of a week you have in front of you, Sunday scaries just kind of hit you when the sun's going down on a Sunday night. You're like, fuck, why can't I shake this? And I can't even imagine how you feel because you actually have a lot of important shit to do this week. I really don't.
Yeah, actually, last night was one of the first Sundays I haven't had the Sunday scaries in a hot minute. And the reason why, a bottle of Apothic Inferno wine. I cooked these massive steaks. We went to the farmer's market yesterday, got steaks, got fresh vegetables, cooked those all up. But I grilled these steaks, and I was like, I wonder, because we're trying to use as much as we have here, just because we're moving this next weekend.
You're basically on an episode of Chopped. You're just taking what you've got and you're trying to make the best of it.
Exactly. And I was like, do we have a bottle of wine, please? If we just have one bottle of wine. And I ended up cashing the whole thing, and I was pretty lit. It was great.
By yourself?
Yeah. Well, yeah, my wife's pregnant, so she had like a couple of sips here. But she had a couple of sips, and she was like, "Oh, fuck, that's good." But I was like, "Yeah, I kind of cashed the whole bottle." And I think I was asleep by like 9:15. I laid in bed at 9:15. Bam, out.
That's not even early for you though. That's pretty standard, I think. So, I mean, you were probably up at 4 a.m. just revving, ready to fucking rock like a psychopath.
5. My alarm went off at 5. And actually, I was surprised. I thought I'd wake up before my alarm, because usually if I do get to bed at like 8, between 8 and 9, I wake up at like 4:30, just ready to rock. But no, my alarm hit me, but I popped up right at 5 a.m. Popped up, got a little workout in, went to the store, and like a lot of the things I'm doing right now because we're moving is like the last time I'm doing them, so I'm getting kind of sad. Like I have a very
the last time I'll
schedule.
take out the trash.
No, like yesterday I mowed the lawn. Don't know if I'm going to mow the lawn again. You know, I did a little double diagonal cut. It looks absolutely elite. But I was like, this might be the last time I mow my lawn. I go to the Safeway, the same Safeway on Yale and Hamden every Monday. Did that this morning, and maybe for the last time. You know, it's just like kind of weird. But we did our walkthrough on our house yesterday. Looks incredible. I've got a quote for garage flooring coming. I'm going to do some of that epoxy on the floor.
Okay. It's okay. Spencer's got dogs losing it. Okay. So I don't want to derail you, but I want to mention your betting run that you're on right now as well, because you've been betting baseball and you're crushing. You're parlaying 2 players each to get a hit. Is this what, like, when you're up a couple grand or something?
Yeah, so me and my boy Dan we started with 10 beans, and literally that was all that was left in my account. And so we started with $10, and we're basically a challenge of turn $10 into $10,000 over a period of I think it's 7 or 8 days. So you bet on 2 players to get a hit, just a base hit in the game, and that's usually even money. So you're essentially doubling up. So you bet 10, then you bet 20 the second day, then you bet 40, then you bet 80, then you bet 160, then you bet 320, then it's 640, and then 1260, and then 2,500, and then by day 10 you're betting $5,000 to win $10,000. I've strayed a little bit from the plot. I get
it, because you're starting to hedge out a little bit now, and you don't want to blow your whole wad on one bet. But also that would be like the most electric thing in the world to just. But then your luck is going to run out. You know, that's just kind of how it works. And you're like, do I really want to take my entire bankroll and put it on 1-2 hit parlay? and you know, that has got to be like soul crushing, or it's just super electric. You got to have pretty big balls to do that.
Yeah, well, the insane part is there's been some minor derailments on both of our sides. Like I told you about this, but on I think Friday night, we had our 2-man hit parlay locked in for like $620, and then one of the guys was scratched from his lineup. So it was basically I had a straight bet on Matt Olson to get a hit minus 250 for like 600 to pay out like 880 or whatever. So I'm risking a shitload to pay out like $200. He got a hit, but with the insane luck we've had in terms of 2 different times now, or three, including yesterday, 3 different times now we've had a guy be the 4th batter in the 9th inning. So somebody else has to get on base for him to get a hit. And then he has to get a hit in his last at bat of the game. And it's happened to us. So it's insane. Like I hit the hit parlay I hit yesterday was done in the 3rd inning. And that's when it's really nice. It's just like, we're all good. But then I started getting a little excited last night and started making a few more bets. And I actually made
after your bottle of wine, I'm sure.
Yeah, I made a sick parlay during the Little League Classic. Did you watch that at all? I know you're not a big baseball guy, but it was Mariners and Mets last night, the Sunday night game, but it was in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So it was like not a Little League field. They played on a full-size field, but it was like everybody in attendance pretty much was all the Little League teams that are playing in the World Series this week in Pennsylvania. So I had Cal Raleigh to homer. I had a base hit from Juan Soto, and I needed a base hit from Pete Alonso. Alonso hit, and then Raleigh homered in the 7th, and then Soto came up in the 9th, and they fucking walked him for the 3rd walk of the game. So he was literally 0 for 1 and walked 3 times, and so I lost that bet. I was pretty bummed, but I didn't place a full nut on that to double up. That parlay was like plus 750, and I only put like a small amount on it. But I am up a good amount, so I want to hit 2 or 3 more decently sized hit parlays. I'm going to wait for my boy Dan to send over the research today. And then once I get up a couple of G's, I might cash out a bit, put it towards the house. We got a lot of expenses coming up here pretty quick. So I got to wire all my money today over to the bank and just a lot of things going on.
Well, what I would do, and I know it's easier said than done, because when you're in the midst of it, you feel like Mr. Krabs in that meme where you're like, I don't know what to do. You're not thinking clearly. But really just wait until you find something you really like. Don't just jump on the next thing. You know what I mean? Be patient. Find something that you're like, this feels like a no-brainer, and then take that instead of everyone, especially gambling, that's when you're not logical and you just kind of, especially you're doing it with your heart, generally speaking, you're not on any sort of algorithm, or maybe you are on, some sort of algorithm. I don't know. But it's just like, there's times when you don't feel so good about it and you do it anyway. It's like hitting a golf shot. There's been times where you stand over it, you're like, oh, I don't feel like this is going to go well. And then guess what? It generally doesn't go well. So you definitely want to have the right mindset going into it. But that's electric, dude. Like, everybody's seen those memes where you're just a week away from turning $10 into 100,000 or whatever. But nobody has the balls when it comes time to actually, you make a couple grand and you're like, holy shit. And even getting to that is impressive. But then to take that couple grand, risk it all on everything, to take another one. And then what was that game show we watched as kids? Was it the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Kind of like you get handed this money and you're like, fuck.
Oh, Deal or No Deal. Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. There you go. I'm like, you see this number and you're like, it's a bird in the hand versus 2 in the bush type of shit. Like, do I just take this right here? But just for experimental purposes, I do want you to kind of ride it out, because that shit's electric.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun to actually see money in my betting account, like a good amount. Like seeing a comma in there is pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's usually you're depositing and hopefully there's not a comma in the deposit.
Yeah, clicking the plus button in the top next to your name to deposit is not my favorite button.
No, it doesn't feel good. Should we get into a little bit of golf from this weekend?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about Scottie Scheffler and his win at the BMW Championship. Of course, I actually did. So I cashed out my Robert McIntyre bet on the 15th hole because there was still some money left in there, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, I was rage texting you all day. So for those of you that didn't catch the pod or don't follow us on social media, go ahead and do that. Big Drive Energy on Twitter, Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram. But I had Bobby Mack. I got to pick our long shot of the week, and that was Bobby Mack at plus 5,000, so 50-1 odds to win. It looked like he was just going to walk away with it. And if anybody else was in second place going into Sunday other than Scoot motherfucking Scheffler, I think he probably wins it. But I think the unfortunate part is now, every tournament that happens where there's a comeback, right? it feels like happens more often than not lately. Like the guy that's leading on Saturday night doesn't end up winning the golf tournament. You always ask yourself, or, I ask you on this pod, did X player win it, or did Scottie win this tournament, or did Bobby Mack lose it? And the answer the whole day was Bobby Mack lost it. I mean, being 3 over through your first 6 holes when he was tearing up the first 6 holes all week, felt like every day you looked at his round and he's through 5 or 6 and he's 4 or 5 under already. Like, he was just on fire to start every round. And once that pressure hit on Sunday, and he's playing with Scottie, which he played with him both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday had no problem, but when it becomes winning time, Scottie just stays level, and Bobby Mack was making bogeys. And the thing is like, I'm not going to try to shit on him too much because it is Scottie Scheffler, but he made a bunch of bogeys and was like, I think I saw the stats through 9 holes. He hit like 2 fairways and 3 greens. Like, he just had to play even par golf, and Scottie would have had to have a great round to catch him, but he started making bogeys coming back. And then Scottie just kept making birdies, kept making pars. And then the hole that kind of flipped it for good was one of the par 3s on the back, I believe 13. Bobby Mack had a birdie putt. Scottie had a closer birdie putt. He hits it like 8 feet by. Scottie then hits it like 4 feet by. Scottie makes the putt for par. Bobby Mack makes bogey. And at that point, you're like, once you give Scottie the lead, as you texted me yesterday, the gift, the anaconda, he's not giving it up. And then it turned into kind of a Scottie win because Bobby Mack finally made birdie on 16. And you're like, oh, is this like, that's when I took the cash out. I was like, they were still giving him some odds to win the tournament. I was like, I don't know who's watching golf in your book, but they're fucking completely wrong. And so Scottie on 17, they both missed the green. Bobby Mack goes first, juiced up, misses it over. And the place he missed it, it looked like your typical average $20 Muni behind the green back there. Like, that was a terrible spot. It was full of dirt and clumps of grass. I was like, oh man, he's cooked. And you're like, all right, Scottie's just going to hit the center of the green, 2-putt for par like he always does, win this thing easy. He hits it over the green and is way further out than Bobby Mack. You're like, all right, well, maybe a door opens here. Bobby Mack gets up and down. Scottie doesn't. We got a tie ball game going into 18. You never know what's going to happen. And then Scottie just has full Tiger moment and chips in. And I thought, like, I tweeted it, but I thought that chip was going to be 10 feet short. I was like, oh my God, he left it 10 feet short. And we know Scottie's not the greatest putter. You're like, Scottie can make bogey here. And it just keeps rolling and keeps rolling and keeps rolling. I was like, oh, he's going to have a 3-footer. Oh, it's in the hole. And it's just, it was cool because you're all day, you're just thinking, kind of feeling bad for Bobby Mack because he just gave it away. But then when Scottie makes a shot like that to essentially close the door and win the tournament, you're like, all right, that I feel pretty good about that result.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think Bobby Mack a little bit can get some, I don't even know how to.
Some solace.
I was going to say solace. He can find a little solace in the fact that Scottie chipped that one in, and Scottie's just very, very good at what he does. But it was pretty obvious early in the final round that Bobby Mack was choking this away. Maybe he's been hanging out with Tommy Fleetwood too much, because this is just seems to be a thing amongst the English players. But in my mind, being an American with the Ryder Cup coming up, I'm glad that Scottie went and beat Bobby Mack. And we'll get into the Ryder Cup automatic qualifiers, but nobody on the U.S. team besides Scottie, he's the best player in the world, bar none right now. Nobody on the U.S. team feels like they have a lot of momentum. You know what I mean? Xander Schauffele was like, he's like 3rd in automatic qualifying. The dude's played like dog shit. I was watching him because he was my one and done pick. My God, the guy was hitting it all over the yard. His body language was all-time bad. He was basically Anthony Richardson when he pulled himself out of the fucking game because he was tired. Like, he was just basically every time he would miss a 6-footer, he's walking back by before it even gets to the hole. Like, he looked like he didn't even want to be there. So you got Xander, and then, Harris English is playing good golf. Russell Henley's playing good golf, but nobody's like, Tommy Fleetwood, talk all the shit that he hasn't won. He's finished second, like he's finished in the top 5. It feels like every week for the last fucking 6 weeks. And then you have Rory, who's obviously had a great year. You have Bobby Mack. You have Matt Fitzpatrick, who's trending up. You have all these other guys that you feel like they're all trending in the right direction. And it feels like a lot of the US guys are kind of turning their wheels, not really doing shit. So from from the Ryder
I was
Cup
just going to
perspective,
say,
I felt good about. No, I was just going to say from a Ryder Cup perspective, I'm like, thank God, Scott. Like we got one guy, and he's really fucking good. But this is all we got, like relatively speaking, compared to it feels like a much deeper team on the European side. So I'm like, Scottie, please beat this dude, because if you lose to like Europe's like 5th best player and you're our clear number 1 guy, and clearly Scottie's had a fucking unbelievable season. He's had an unbelievable 3 seasons, whatever. But there was just part of me where I was like, do not lose to this guy, because it's going to feel, I guarantee you Luke Donald was going to call back to that and be like, hey, Bobby, you remember beating Scottie down the stretch of the BMW? And now he just does not have that feather in his cap. So I was pleased about that. But other than that, it was just a Scottie suck fest. He just is so good at he's so good at what he does. Just ran over everybody again. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, and shout out to Tommy Fleetwood for cashing my top 5 bet plus 500 or 300 maybe.
Well, and dude, okay, so and I guess we're getting to this point with Scottie Scheffler. Do you feel like the fields are deep enough? Like, I mean, Xander Schauffele lost by 17 shots and finished tied for 28th. He legit lost by, or maybe more than 17. What was Scottie at to win? 15?
15 under, and Xander finished at
3 over. And so he was 18 shots
shots
behind, and he was just outside the top 25. Like,
Scottie Scheffler beat Andrew Novak by 35 shots. 9 a day.
Dude, Novak had a rough week. I mean,
Did you see what Xander said?
No.
Oh my God. Xander in his post-round interview, quote, "There's nothing worse than trying your hardest and playing like ass. It's the worst combo." He had the longest streak of making the Tour Championship at 8 years and will miss it for the first time since 2017.
Dude, and Hungry Dog should run faster. I don't think, if you asked him in all honesty, like gun to your head, he did not try his hardest. You could tell that he just knew he didn't have it. And he wasn't like, I mean, I guess on Sunday he played a good round, but I watched him Friday, Saturday, and it was a joke. Like, he was just walking. It was basically on a stroll. Like,
well, let me ask you this. This is more of a golf conceptual question in general. Big word there for me on a Monday morning. But, you said that Hungry Dogs run faster. Obviously, Xander just kind of didn't have it this week. But I think personally that matters. Sometimes hole to hole, or like you're playing the 18th and you need to make birdie and you're aggressive. But in golf in general, does that really make a difference when you need to play 4 good rounds? Like, can you really lock it in enough to actually like will yourself to be good? In other sports, maybe you can. Maybe you're a running back and you just need to get in the end zone. You just break a few tackles and don't let anybody take you down. But in golf, sometimes it feels like there's a level of trying that you can't really get past. And then if you don't have it on top of that, like, you can try 10 times harder if that's even physically possible, but you're not making that putt, or you're not hitting it on the green and not hitting it close enough.
Yeah, no, you definitely can't control how well you play, but you can control your mindset and your mentality. And you can also, in my mind, like, playing harder in golf is being more prepared, and it just didn't feel like he's coming off an injury earlier this year, but it doesn't feel like he's really, and I'm just armchair quarterback in this shit. Like, we're talking about golf, but it doesn't feel like he's been pushing to really get back to that form that we saw. Like, last year he won 2 majors and everyone's like, oh, Xander and Scottie, the next big rivalry. And I mean, he has just completely fallen off, relatively speaking. And I just don't think that it seems like there wasn't as much of a sense of urgency from him. And I just was disappointed in his game. And I mean, you look down the leaderboard and there's just a lot of guys that generally you feel like would be in contention. Like, aside from Bobby Mack and Scottie battling it out, Sunday, it was a 2-man race this entire weekend, basically. And that's not making for good PGA Tour drama. You know, that's not making for great viewership when you have two guys. And then, I mean, middle of Friday, I tweeted this, middle of Friday, there was 9 guys within 10 shots of the lead, a round and a half in. I'm like, this is not like,
yeah.
and
This wasn't one of those, events where they started at different strokes. Like they started the same spot. They all started at even par.
Yeah, and it felt like Bobby Mack started 10 shots ahead because everyone was just gone. And that was the weird thing about the course is like a lot of guys had a tough time. Like, when have you seen a PGA Tour guy shoot 20 some over? You know, these fucking guys get paid to do this. They're, even if you're the Cleveland Browns, you still get paid to play football. Like Andrew Novak,
and the top 50 as well. It's not even like this was a 125 person field where you have some guys that maybe Monday qualified to get in or whatever. These are the best players they got. This is it.
Oh, 100%. And that's where I was like confused because there was so many guys shooting 74, 75. There was a shitload of dudes over par. I mean, Xander was 3 over and finished middle of the pack, like in the Tour Championship, the top 50 PGA Tour guys. So I think the course was tough. But that was just, it wasn't, you know, there definitely wasn't much juice to it. And unfortunately, I think Scottie, this run that he's on is going to be more something that you look back on in the legend of it. But in the middle of it, you're just, you appreciate it, but you're like, this makes for boring golf, you know, similar to like what Tiger did in the early 2000s. If you're going to run everybody out of the gym, then who wants to watch that? You know, it's just, and there was a slight bit of drama. It's not like he won by 5 or 6, but it just wasn't super captivating. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, something that will be super captivating, let's transition here into the Ryder Cup. The automatic qualifiers for the Ryder Cup are locked in stone. Can you name them? I know you've sent them to me, or I know you've seen them, but can you name them without looking, or is it, did you just look at it? Is it
No, I didn't just look. Off the top of my head, I've got Xander, I've got Bryson, I've got Harris English, I've got Russell Henley.
Yep.
Is Morikawa one of them, or was he just outside?
No, you're missing 1 and 2. I'm in qualifiers.
Well, Scottie, obviously.
Yeah, and number 2.
That goes without saying. And then Xander, or no, I said Xander. Who am I missing here? No, McNeely wasn't it. Am I just having a total brain fart and forgetting a very obvious name?
Yeah, he's become very obvious on the scene in the last year.
Okay, in the last year.
He's a major champion.
Oh, why am I? Oh, who won? Oh, I'm sorry, JJ Spawn.
There you go.
Holy shit. Like, that is, unfortunately, and this is no knock on JJ Spawn. He's had a phenomenal year. But when you look at the points race and it's Scottie Scheffler, 37,000 Ryder Cup points, and then JJ Spawn is number 2 with 14,000. Granted, Bryson's in live and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't bode well for the U.S. team when we've got one guy that's just 2,000 miles in a different stratosphere. And then you have Spawn. But Spawn has been a phenomenal player this year. I'm not taking anything away from him. It just feels slightly concerning that Spawn is a guy that's won one big event. He's been in a couple playoffs. He's had a great year, but he is the next best guy. Like Russell Henley was an automatic qualifier, and all he's done this year is throw out a handful of top 10s. Like, you know, it doesn't feel Harris English has won.
When you look at the roster and you're like, and the automatic qualifiers, and you do kind of get that sense. Now it feels very lopsided because the United States has it on their home soil, and that feels like a win all the time. But then you really break down like who now we know is going to make it for sure. Scheffler, Spawn, Schauffele, Henley, Harris English, which kind of seems shocking to me. And then Bryson DeChambeau edges out Justin Thomas by just over 300 points. But then you go to 7 through 12, and obviously these guys aren't guaranteed locks, but Keegan Bradley, the captain, at number 11. And then you've got Harman, McNeely, Griffin, Morikawa, and Thomas. None of those guys really feel like they have that dog in them other than maybe Justin Thomas. Like we've talked about Colin Morikawa's lack of dog. Ben Griffin, unless he overdoses on creatine again, I mean, he's a good player, but
I think
being
Ben Griffin's
shaky,
got to be. Ben Griffin is probably feels like he's in the best form of all of those guys. Like,
yeah. And then quick, would you rather, or do you think Keegan Bradley being at 11 picks himself at this point?
I mean, he has said that he's not going to pick himself unless he gets a lot of outside pressure to pick himself. And we've talked about this, but he is one of the few guys that has that dog in them. He's got the big dog, the Draymond Green. Like, he's got that. Yeah. He's got that fucking serious dog. And I would love to see Keegan play, but I would think he would stay true to his word unless he gets a lot of pressure from the outside and he brings in some outside counsel to help coach, to help captain the team. But ultimately speaking, I feel like he's in as good a form in that 7 to 12 group as anyone besides probably Ben Griffin. But I don't really think Morikawa belongs on the team. He's that triple B that I just can't get over. He has zero dog. If you don't know what triple B is, it's baby back, other word. That's what Colin Morikawa is to me. And I would say Justin Thomas is definitely, I mean, he's had a rough stretch since he won in Hilton Head, I don't know why I said it like that. But he is still a guy that has enough experience, and I feel like that kind of gives him the nod. But other than that, Chris Gotterup had a rough week at Caves Valley, but there's guys, you got to go with the hot hand. Like, if a guy is playing shitty golf, he's playing shitty golf. You can't look at Xander. I mean, he automatic qualified, but he's had a couple of top tens. He's by no means peaking right now at all. And he's like the third automatic qualifier. So that just doesn't bode well. The closer we get to the Ryder Cup, the little more uncomfortable I feel about it, because we thought we were going to have guys like Brooks Koepka emerge and earn a lot of points in the majors, and he's nowhere to be found. There's other guys that you hope would step up. I was hoping that Morikawa would win once or twice. There's just certain dudes that even Tom Kim, I was hoping would make the team. He's American. Yeah, he's American. Does he?
I don't
no?
think so, because he played against the United States.
He was in the President's Cup. Never
Cup.
mind. I didn't know if he played from America or how that works or whatever. But anywho, there was just a couple other guys that I was very disappointed in this season in general that I wish would have looked a little better going into it, because I feel like Keegan's kind of at a disadvantage right now relative to what they've got on the European side.
Yeah. Let's move on to a little bit of USAM talk. So you sent me this morning, this kid. I'm going to have you get into it because I didn't pay as close of attention to this as I was watching, some football weekend and then also watching the BMW. But the USAM was at the final. Like, isn't it match? It's match play, correct? Did it finish this weekend?
Yeah, it's 36 hole match play is the final match, and it finished up. It was on TV because they were on the West Coast, so it was on TV until like 9 p.m. here, which is kind of cool. Missy shut that down. She's like, I was like, can we turn on the USA Amateur? She's like, I am not watching any more golf. Like, but then I did have a good compromise because she was like, how about preseason football? I'm like, done. Like, that's fine. But I didn't want to watch any more New Girl as well. That I was out on that. But the US, I flipped it to the AM for like 2 minutes, and this kid was up 6 with like 8 to go. And I'm like, oh, this is a complete snoozer. So this kid's name is Mason Howell. He's from, he plays college golf at Tennessee, I think. I know that sounds bad. But if I can remember correctly, he plays golf at Tennessee. He shot 59 when he was 14 years old. And then he was like the 18-year-old kid. I know. And he was the 18-year-old kid that, or he's 18 or 19. He shot 63 to get into the US Open earlier this year. And then he goes and boat races his opponent in the match play finale at the US Amateurs. So it really feels like this kid is like on the up and up. Apparently I saw this story. They always like to find something sad about these kids, like how their comeback stories. Apparently he was jumping on his trampoline when he was 6 years old and got kneed in the eye which trampolines are scary as shit. Luckily, you and I have been marked safe because our mom would never get us a trampoline. But anytime we would go over to our buddy's house, it always felt like somebody was getting hurt. But he got kneed in the eye, and I guess he almost lost the vision in his eye, in one of his eyes, and then he was afraid he wouldn't be able to golf again. He was 6 years old. But overall, this kid's a baller. He was dude, did you see the video of the opponent's caddy fucking hitting the weed pen down the stretch? Like,
no.
They were on like the second 18, the front nine of the second 18, and they get a candid little fucking pen hit from this dude's caddy. Like the dude's getting boat raced and his caddy's over there hitting the fucking weed pen on national TV. That was pretty funny. I'm like, he must know he's out of it at this point. So it wasn't necessarily a very captivating finale, but whenever something's hosted at Olympic Club, I think it's worth a watch just because that's such a great venue out there. But then this Abdo kid, I think his name's Jimmy Abdo. Is that what do you have that pulled up by chance? I sent that to you. This D3 kid from St. Augustus, Aquavius, some shit up in like St. Paul, Minnesota. He ends up making it to the semifinals. He was a D3. I don't know if he walked on. He had no Division I offers, but then he actually entered the transfer portal after this season and got no offers from anybody after this season. Then he qualifies for the USAM, goes on this electric run and makes it to the final 8, ends up losing, I think, to the kid who lost in the finale. So lost to a worthy opponent, but it was just so cool because I saw the video at his home club back in Minnesota, and everyone has got shirts with his face on them. They're all partying. They ran him out of pull tabs. They were getting fucking shit-faced. I guess the food and beverage manager was like, we got to kick these people out of here because it's getting too rowdy. So like that is all-time legend shit. And we talk about this in golf all the time. You're similar to your gambling situation. You're 1 week from changing your life. This dude completely was a nobody. No, not a single person knew who this guy was. And now he's on the national radar because he had a week that completely changed his golf career. And he was super electric down the stretch. I loved his emotion. And if you have it in you, it's real easy to say that, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. Oh yeah, I forgot about John Rahm on the fucking, and Tyrrell Hatton on the European team. God, I think we might get smoked. But it's real easy to say, oh, I could have won this, I could have won that, I could have done this if I just would have, there's a lot of what ifs in golf that you can, and I've been a victim of them as well. But to go out there and do it, to be a D3 guy with no recognition and to get to that final 8, I thought was super electric. So good for I think his name's Jimmy Abdo. I want to say his first name's Jimmy. I know his last name is, and what kind of last name is that? ABDO. Like what? Abdu? Abdo. That's just a very odd last name, but it was a fun viewership. I always love when there's a little extra golf on, you turn off a major and then there's the U.S. Women's Am or the U.S. Amateur or whatever. So that was a good watch.
Yeah. It's fun when because we got to go to that a couple of years ago. And then now it's, every year you get some cool names and some fun stories out of the U.S. Amateur. I want to get back to this question in a sec. Let's do this. Brendan, we'll get back to that in a second and talk about who we'd pick. I do want to get to the Live Tour individual finale in Indianapolis this past weekend. Insane weekend. So a couple of stories to come out of it. Sebastian Munoz bootied. Sebastian Munoz bootied. Birdied 17 of 18 holes in a stretch, which might be the most insane stretch of golf of all time. Also, John Rahm, despite not winning a single individual Live Tour event, won the individual Live Tour title over Joaquin Niemann, who won 5 times. So I don't know how that point system works, but that's insane. And then Ian Poulter made birdie and basically qualified to not be in the relegation zone and kicked his own teammate, Henrik Stenson, into the relegation zone, which also includes Mito Pereira and Anthony Kim. So all those guys will have to go back. There's 2 ways they can get back to qualifying for the Live Tour. They have to finish at the top of the order of merit on the Asian Tours International Series or the Live Promotions event, which is basically Q school for the Live Tour. So kind of insane to see a guy like, it's funny that Poulter kicked his own teammate Stenson into the relegation zone. And then, I tweeted about this last night, but Mito Pereira, who was a sawed-off driver swing away in Oklahoma from winning a major and being a major champion, is now not just on the Live Tour, but relegated from the Live Tour after the 2025 season. Pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, those are some relatively big names that got relegated. Henrik Stenson, less than a decade ago, was one of the top players in the world. I mean, now we see what has happened with Dustin Johnson, and golf is a very fleeting game. Jimmy Walker won a PGA Championship years ago, and I haven't seen that dude's name anywhere. So it's just a very a tough game. But to get to make the jump to Live, and I mean, Live, I bet, spent a lot of money between Stenson. They brought over Martin Keimer. They brought Poulter. They brought Westwood. And really, none of them have played good golf. Like, the Majestics have been one of the worst fucking teams, I think. Consistently, every time I look at a Live leaderboard, they're hovering around the bottom of it. Poulter's battling out relegation. Henrik Stenson, I just can't believe that. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him try to get reinstated back with the DP World Tour, because it was just I would equate it to like Bruce Brown taking a paycheck with the Pacers. He's made his money. Now he wants to come back and play on the regular tour with his buddies. I could totally see Henrik Stenson doing that. But yeah, Lee Westwood played pretty fucking bad golf for the most part. Ian Poulter has not been at the top of a single leaderboard. So it is just a crazy situation that you see these big name dudes getting relegated from Live. Like, you're getting kicked out of the club that's like second rate. I don't know. It's fucking kind of crazy to see. But I mean, that run by Sebastian Munoz was actually probably more captivating because that was like middle of Saturday. Who knows? Munoz probably started on like 15 and was making the turn. Fucking, he's back to number 3, just grabbed himself a hot dog and was fucking making birdies like there's no tomorrow. But all the while, you have the BMW Championship where there's 3 guys within 10 shots of the lead. And you're like, this Live shit might actually be onto something this week. They got some actual storylines cooking. But then I saw a lot of rage bait on Twitter about Live guys being in the Ryder Cup, like Brooksy and all. I'm like, dude, it's gone a step too far. The Live bots are part. I think the Live Tour wanted people on social media to talk obviously about Live, but I actually have been turned off by it to the point where I won't watch because there's people that say that this is actually more competitive than the PGA Tour, and that's just brainless shit right there.
Yeah, 100% rage bait. Which
Similar
I actually
yes, you
dude,
rage
that was
baited.
so funny. That was not intentional, or it was a completely intentional all because I just saw so many people saying,
joke.
"Oh my
It was
god,
clearly
Jared Stidham."
Yeah,
obviously. All right, before we get to Mulligan Monday, I do want to get back to this question. Let's each give our picks. If we were the Ryder Cup captain, who outside of 6 through 12 do we think Keegan should pick? And if I were to get anybody in there, I would, Keegan, if I were him, I'd pick myself. But I don't know, something inside me, like a Burnsy, Patrick Cantlay, Chris Gotterup, the way he's playing. Those are some of the guys that I would look at.
Cantlay low-key does have that dog in him. I think we saw that with the whole hat situation over at the last Ryder Cup, which I did love to see a little bit of that fire. I wouldn't hate seeing Cam Young thrown in there. He's playing great golf. I could see him being kind of a bulldog as well. And then I think you got to throw Gotterup in there as well. I think Keegan is just done doing what these past guys have done and being like, oh yeah, of course, Tony Finau, Jordan Spieth, all the typical names.
I was scrolling down. Tony Finau at the 24th overall qualifier. Chris Kirk, who played in the last one, right, at 28, or maybe that was Chris Kirk played in the President's Cup. But Ricky Fowler down at 30, Jordan Spieth at 32, Horschel at 33. I mean, these guys. Yeah, I don't think Patrick Reed 42. Maybe he gets the call up. But
if anything, T. Reed would be a closer pick, in my opinion, because he's actually kind of the American Ian Poulter, it feels like, where no matter what kind of form he's in, he just gets up for that shit. But I don't think there's if I was Keegan, I'd pick myself, but I don't know if he's going to do that or not. It'll be electric when he finally releases the team.
I know he said he's not going to pick himself, and I really do understand that. But looking at it logically, you finish in the top 12, so that already gives you kind of an out of like, it's not out of the realm. If he picks Patrick Reed at 42, you're like, well, you better win, or else this is going to be definitely looked back on as a hindsight scenario. But for me, Keegan's got to know. I mean, if there's anybody that knows how much dog Keegan has, it's him. But I think any captain outside of Keegan Bradley would have him locked in, being in the top 12, and then also just the player that he's been this year, player he's been over the last 2 years. I know he said that he won't pick himself, but I refuse to believe that until the teams are actually out. Because, dude, you look at the rest of those guys and you just don't get excited. Like, I'm not like, oh, even Justin Thomas at 7, probably in, but like Brian Harmon at 12, I'm like, man, do you really need him? Do you really not? Like, Keegan at 11 is the next one where, looking at it, taking all the bias out of it being his own pick, that's the guy. Like, you got to be on the team.
I agree, but that's the problem is, like, I feel like Keegan has quite a bit of integrity. And
Integrity Farms.
Yeah, he's got that integrity. And I think that he's probably been told by a few past Ryder Cup captains, maybe one Zach Johnson. He's been told one thing and then another thing has happened. And so I don't know if he wants to go back on his word, and be like, well, am I just like Zach Johnson, or am I just like these guys, where I think he stood firm. If I don't qualify, I'm not going to pick myself, like, because he was selected to be the captain. And that's ultimately what he is that's his leadership is as a captain. And obviously that will be taken away from if he is playing. So don't get me wrong. I would pick Keegan Bradley every day of the week. I just don't know if he's going to end up picking himself, because I think he wants to stand on business and kind of change the old boys culture of the Ryder Cup. Like, oh, would it be obvious to pick myself? No shit. Like, and it actually would make sense for him to do it. Zach Johnson would pick himself if he was anywhere within the top 3 dozen, so it's like one of those where I just don't know how much Keegan wants to stick by his word. And I hope that he doesn't. I'll say it last time. I hope he picks himself, but I don't think he's going to, just based on principle.
Yeah, and that makes sense because of how, in Full Swing, it documented the whole Ryder Cup situation and how shitty he felt and felt like it was just a bad situation. So he's got 2 options. He can stick it to all of them and say, I'm picking myself, fuck you. Or like you said, if he's got a lot of integrity and sticks to his word, then maybe it goes the other way.
Yeah, like how funny would that be if he called like the next 6 guys in line and goes, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm taking myself over you. So you're not playing this year because I am, and just goes full Joker mode, plays the heel, doesn't give a shit, which I wouldn't blame him for either because he got done dirty, but he just seems like too good of a dude to do that. I think he realized how much he was hurt by that Ryder Cup situation years ago, and he does not want to do that to somebody else. And he's just that kind of good quality person. So I don't see him doing it, but
yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's wrap this pod up with a Mulligan Monday. We don't get a ton of Mulligan Mondays anymore because we do shows on Sunday or on Wednesdays, and we will be back this Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time, to preview the Tour Championship. We'll talk all about the final 30 that made it in. We'll give our picks again, hopefully not have a runaway winner this week. The Tour Championship usually is kind of lame, but we're going to hype it up. We'll get excited for it. Get excited for East Lake.
Sawyer sounds hyped up for East Lake.
Yeah, he's hyped up for the dude. He woke up this morning. Golf. He wanted to watch golf on TV. I was like, there's no golf on TV, buddy. It's Monday. It's Monday morning. We'll have to wait till Thursday. But I'll start with my Mulligan Monday. So I went to the Rockies game on Friday night, and I was in the car for like 3.5, 4 hours on Friday, just driving around, taking care of some different errands, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I don't want to drive my car to Coors Field on a Friday night. And I also wanted to drink. So I rode my bike to Coors Field, and the ride there, great, cruised all the way down, very sober. The ride home was not as telling. So the ride home, I didn't take the Cherry Creek Trail, which is pretty dark, and it was like 9, 10 p.m. at night.
You have that
So I took
headlamp on and shit?
No, I don't have a headlamp or anything. So I took the roads where there's street lights. I was on the sidewalk, but 3 different things happened to me that I wish I could take back. One, the city of Denver was watering this patch of grass next to the sidewalk that was like 2 feet wide. And the entire watering scenario was going on the sidewalk. So I basically rode my bike through a fucking car wash. So I was soaked, number one. And then number 2, I'm on University. I'm looking to cross the street so I can get over to Cherry Creek and get to my house. And so I look back as I'm riding to the left. I'm like, okay, can I cross the street? Are there any cars? I look back up and I'm starting to veer my bike into the fucking fence. So I hit the fence, and look, you can see like splinters just all in my hand from the fence. That was number 2. And then I'm almost home, and I get this weird thing when I'm working out, if it's like a long, like the Manitou incline or bike ride, where the last mile, I just start going really fast. I was like, I can feel that I'm close. I'm going to max myself out and get home as quick as I can. So I'm hauling ass down the last street, and my phone falls out of my back pocket. And I'm like, God damn it. So
Spencer had to mute himself because his dogs are starting to pop off. But did you crack your phone case or did anything?
So here's what happened. This is insane. So my phone falls out of my back pocket in the middle of the street. I stop my bike. I turn around. One car coming down the road fucking runs right over my phone, dude. Just runs straight over it. And the craziest thing, the screen protector didn't even crack. The only thing that cracked was my camera cover. My plastic camera cover got shattered, and my credit cards that I leave in the back of my phone fucking volcanoed. I saw them just shoot all over the road. So I'm there at like 11:30 at night, picking up my credit cards off the road, put them back in my phone. There's a little bit of a scratch on my case here. Nothing too crazy, but the phone was fine. Literally ran over by a Toyota Camry.
My God, that is, I mean, smart decision to bike there, but that's one of those where the one way feels good, and then the other way you're like, why did I ever do this? Like, it's basically like taking any sort of public transportation. You get on the light rail to go down to a game, or on the train, you're like, oh, this is fun, and then you're on your way back, you're like, fuck me, this is the worst.
I hate this.
Well, my Mulligan Monday is, I woke up yesterday and I didn't sleep great. Or I'm sorry, Saturday morning. It was Saturday, and I woke up and I didn't sleep great, so I was kind of like annoyed. I don't know. So I walk out the door at the beach house, and they have a screen door, but it's like a half screen, half metal. And so I walk out and I don't get out the door fast enough, and I'm not really like thinking. I don't know exactly how it timed up so perfectly, but the corner of the door slams right, like literally as I was stepping, hits my like Achilles heel on my right foot, goes right into the back of my ankle, fucking breaks skin in 2 different places. I thought for a second, I'm like, is my Achilles ruptured? Like I was being dramatic for like 5 seconds, but I was freaking out. And then Missy does this thing where when she sees that I've been injured, she tries not to laugh, and I can tell. And I'm like, you don't fucking laugh. Like, I legit get pissed because I'm in pain, and she's like trying not to make, yeah. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, she's trying not to laugh at me. And then I'm going around the back of the house to get out the beach chairs out of the shed, and everything's fucking jammed in there. It's a nightmare. And so I'm trying to reach out far away from my body and pull up. You know how like you have something like 4 feet out in front of you and you're trying to lift it. I lift and my back just completely seizes up. I tweaked my fucking back, and I'm just sitting there like, and I like have to fully bend at the waist, set the chair down. And Oh, dude, I was in shambles. My back is still like, I'm getting up out of bed like this. I can't
No, bro.
I'm rolling out like I have to roll out of bed. Oh, there it was again. And now I'm trying to play golf 3 out of the next 5 days. And it's I think I'm going to play the forward tees today and just try to take it easy because I don't want to, who knows, it might actually help, but my back has been in shambles. My ankle still hurts. I'm just fucking injured at this point. I'm playing hurt. I need to push through it, but the tweaking of the back when you're an adult, you can just automatically kiss 3 days of your fucking life goodbye. Like,
yeah,
I know I'm not going to be
simple tasks like breathing and moving around. You just, it's terrible.
Yeah. Like you bend over to pick something up. You're like, oh, I can't do that. Like,
yeah,
like the old Sean Fisher when you fucking have to turn like this because you crink your neck or some shit. So I'm just physically in a bad way, but I'm going to go give it my all today. So over under from the front tees, probably 80.5.
You're going to fire like 67. That's how it's going
to
go.
Might, beware the injured athlete. So we'll see what happens.
Well, good luck golfing today, my boy. We will be back with Big Drive Energy on 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Wednesday to preview the entire Tour Championship coming up at East Lake. We hope you have a great rest of your Monday. We will talk to you on Wednesday. Big Drive Energy out.
Peace.
Peace.